I showed when the duck eggs in the incubator were first developing and the duck eggs developing outside, but it's a little darker in here. I did come in here and notice that it says the temp's okay. This is the little chick that I was talking about when the temperature is perfect, but look at the humidity. 51% is a big no for me when I hatch ducklings. I definitely want it to be at least 55% minimum. So I'm going to add water into this, and then I'm going to candle what duck eggs were good. We ended up with 18 out of the original 40, and then I added 4 more. I'm kind of staggering it, adding duck eggs once a week. That way I can use this as the incubator and use my other incubator as a hatcher, rotating it every week so I have time to sanitize in between hatches. 3 days to hatch, 3 days to sanitize, and add more eggs. So until I get a large enough amount of eggs being produced, which probably won't happen until next year, I'm just going to have to rotate. You do not have to worry about removing this lid even once a day, because remember, the mama hens get off their eggs once a day to go eat and drink water. So it's perfectly fine as long as you're not doing it constantly, and that you make sure later that the humidity comes back up. What I'm doing is actually pouring water into reservoirs. I showed it in my little giant incubator video last week where the reservoirs are, so I know you can't see them right now, but they are down in there. And that holds the water, and the more water you add, the more reservoirs, that is a hard word for me, guys. I spent a long time in speech therapy growing up. As I fill more and more of these, it increases the humidity. So if I want to decrease the humidity, less water, increase the humidity, fill more. And that's kind of how you keep control of it. So these are the eggs right here that I just added a few days ago. And I can candle it by just laying it on top and checking it out. And so you can see there's little veins right there. Look at that. Now these I just started a couple days ago, so they are not going to be nearly as far along as the other ones. I don't see any veins in that one. Or this one. Actually, there are a lot of ones that I usually have a lot higher fertility rate, but I noticed that I seem to have like a 50% with these eggs, and I'm not sure what's going up with that. And so either one of my hens is not fertile, or my drakes are not as fertile as they should be. And if that's the case, then they gotta go. I can keep the hens in a separate pet pen for laying eggs, but obviously that is not a trait I want for my breeders and my Campbell ducks at all. No, thank you. Okay, let me try to set this phone up where you can really kind of see what's going on in this egg. Look at that. There you go. Look at all those veins in there. That's amazing. It really is. I'm trying to get it right, but it's really hard with this. This is a very bright light. Look at that. Wow. This is really great for me, but really awful for anyone trying to see on my phone what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and change out to a different egg. I know one of these I have really good success with. The incubator's tipped forward right now, so that makes it extra tricky. You can already see the veins in this one. Look at that. And that dark spot right there at the bottom, that's the baby. So that's really exciting. That's really good news right there. Wow, this one's pretty far along in itself. Look at that. a lot of good veining. That's really what you want to see. This one has a lot of good veining too. And again, all that darkness in the bottom, that's the baby down there. So this is definitely a fertile egg. Look at that. This egg probably got incubated some from the Texas heat. I had some that were even developing in the kitchen counter and in the duck coop, which was wild to me. It's just that hot outside. This little circle at the top is the air sac. So I put mine point down so that the air sac is at the top of the egg. That's really important when your eggs start hatching, because the last thing you want to do is for the babies to suffocate inside of their shells, and unfortunately that can happen. So you see the veins at the top? You can kind of see the baby down there. There's actually some movement in the egg, which is really cool. All of these eggs are leaning forward right now, but when they're leaning the opposite way, then you can really see movement. Look at that veining. It's really, really well developed. So that's kind of what you're looking for. These are not as far along, but they still have veins in them, which is really cool. There's some veins right there. They do have special lights for candling eggs. I do not have one of those right now, as you can see. I'm kind of using pin light. There it is, guys. That's the baby right there. This baby is just a little over a week old. This one. That dark black spot that you're seeing right in here, if you look, that's the eye of the baby duck. So these ducklings are 25% Khaki Campbell and 75% Welsh Harlequin. But if you don't know, Welsh Harlequin is also known as a Honey Campbell because they are just color variations of the same breed. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? I'm trying to cover some of the light, maybe you can see better. A different light so that you guys can really see these babies, because I think it'd be really cool for you to get to see everything that's going on in the eggs. Look closely, you can see another baby moving here. This baby is much further along than the last one I showed you. This one's been incubating for over 2 weeks. Look at that baby moving in its shell. So it looks like every single one of these little eggs are viable, which is really amazing. That is a huge blessing when you're incubating eggs. I mind you that I started off with 40 eggs in this incubator. And there's 18 here and 4 here, and only one of these little eggs is developing here. And these are not. So I need to figure out what's going on with my fertility and my flock. Actually, this egg looks like it started developing up here. There's some veining, but I think that's a ring of death, which is a blood ring that forms if your egg begins incubating and then suddenly stops. So that's it. I know it's nothing super fancy, but kind of gives you an overview as far as you can see with checking your eggs in the incubator with what you have. I've done it with a cell phone light. It's not easy to see in the camera recording, but if you use your cell phone light to shine it through the egg, I guarantee you if it's developing, you'll be able to see something, especially if you have white duck eggs or light blue duck eggs. When you have a Cayuga duck egg and it's very dark green or black, it's much harder to see through. But if you have white eggs, if you're incubating any kind of Campbell ducks, whether it's white, khaki, dark Campbell, or Welsh Harlequin / honey Campbells, these methods are going to work for you. You're going to be able to see so much better than you can in my camera. So I hope this helps someone out, and I hope you have an amazing night.